I stood at the edge of her wedding reception, champagne in hand, watching her laugh like she owned the world. And maybe she did. Maybe she always had. Her name was Olivia my wife. Or at least, she used to be. The woman in white across the room, glowing under crystal chandeliers, had introduced me an hour ago as Daniel, my assistant. Not her husband. Not her partner. Her assistant. I'd built her empire with my bare hands. Late nights coding her app from our tiny apartment while she slept. Investor meetings where I sat silent in the back, feeding her lines through text she'd repeat as her own. I gave her my name on the patents. My savings. My pride. And when she finally made it, when we finally made it, I thought the world would see us. But she erased me. She erased me so well, even her wedding guests believed the lie. And now, she was marrying him star. Carson Gray. The venture capitalist with the perfect smile and the kind of generational wealth that made people like me invisible. I should have left. I should have walked out the moment she denied me in front of 200 people. But I didn't. Because standing beside the bride, quiet and watchful in a soft lavender dress, was Isabelle Olivia's younger sister. The girl who used to sit with me in the kitchen when Olivia was too busy. The girl who saw me when no one else did. And tonight, I was going to make sure everyone saw me too. I met Olivia at a startup pitch event 3 years ago on a cold November evening that smelled like ambition and overpriced coffee. The venue was packed, founders, investors, dreamers with laptops and desperate eyes. I wasn't supposed to be there. I'd only come because my roommate bailed last minute and I had nothing better to do than sit in my empty apartment and debug code that no one would ever see. But then she walked onto that stage. Olivia. She wore a navy blazer that fit like armor, her hair pulled back in a way that said she meant business. She didn't smile at first. She just stood there, letting the room settle into silence, and when she finally spoke, her voice cut through the noise like a knife. The freelance economy is broken, she said. Creatives are getting exploited. Platforms are taking 40% cuts. Artists are starving while middlemen get rich. She paused. Let it sink in. I'm building something different. A platform where creatives control their work, their pricing, their future. No gatekeepers. No exploitation. Just freedom. The room leaned in. I leaned in. She talked for 12 minutes. 12 minutes that felt like a vision of the future I didn't know I wanted. She was confident, articulate, magnetic. She spoke like she'd already won. And I believed her. When she finished, the applause was thunderous. Investors swarmed her. I stayed in my seat, scribbling notes on the back of my phone case, my hands shaking. I knew I could build what she was describing. I'd been building platforms like that for years, backends, payment integrations, user authentication, scalable architecture. I'd just never had anyone to build for. I waited until the crowd thinned. Until she was alone by the coffee station, scrolling through her phone. I walked up to her. "Hi," I said. My voice cracked. I cleared my throat. "I'm Daniel. I really loved your pitch." She looked up. Smiled politely. "Thanks. Are you an investor?" "No. I'm a developer." Her expression shifted. Interest flickered in her eyes. "I can build what you described," I said, rushing the words out before I lost my nerve. "The platform. The infrastructure. The payment system. All of it. I've been doing this for years. Your idea, it's different. It's better. And I want to help you make it real." She tilted her head, studying me. "You can really do this?" I nodded. "I can show you my portfolio. I've built." "I believe you," she said, cutting me off. She held out her hand. "Olivia Hartwell. Daniel Cross." Her handshake was firm. Confident. The kind of handshake that made you feel like you mattered. "Let's change the world together," she said. I smiled. "Yeah. Let's do it." I didn't know it then, but I'd just signed my life away. Within 3 months, we were dating. It happened slowly, then all at once. Late nights working in coffee shops. Shared excitement over user flow diagrams. The way she'd rest her hand on my shoulder when I showed her a new feature, her voice soft with awe, *, "You're a genius, Daniel." *. I'd never been called that before. Within 6 months, I'd moved into her apartment. It was small but bright, with floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the city. She worked at the dining table, calls with investors, PR strategy, brand development. I worked in the corner by the window, building the backbone of everything she promised. She lived in blazers and networking brunches. I lived in hoodies and energy drinks. She called me her asterisk secret weapon. Asterisk her asterisk genius. Asterisk. I thought I was her partner. I thought we were building our future. Every night, she'd come home exhausted, collapse onto the couch, and I'd show her what I'd built that day. She'd smile, kiss my forehead, and say, asterisk, I don't know what I'd do without you. Asterisk. I believed her. I gave her access to everything, my code repositories, my intellectual property, my name on the patents. I didn't think twice about it. We were in this together. Weren't we? But there were small moments. Tiny cracks I ignored. The way she'd correct me when I said, we, in front of investors. I'm building a platform, she'd say, not asterisk, we. Asterisk. The way she stopped asking my opinion and started just telling me what to build. The way her eyes would glaze over when I tried to explain the technical challenges, like I was boring her. But I loved her. And I thought love was enough. I thought if I worked hard enough, built well enough, sacrificed enough, she'd see me the way I saw her. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Isabelle came into my life quietly, the way good things often do, unexpected, soft, and impossibly easy to overlook. It was a Saturday in early spring, 6 months into my relationship with Olivia. I was hunched over my laptop at the kitchen table, debugging a payment gateway integration that had been breaking for 3 days straight. My eyes burned. My back ached. I hadn't showered in 2 days. Olivia had left that morning for a networking brunch. She'd be gone all day. Then the door opened. Hello, a voice called out, tentative and warm. I looked up. A young woman stood in the doorway, holding a canvas tote bag and looking slightly lost. She had Olivia's eyes, that same shade of green, but softer. Kinder. Her hair was light brown, loose around her shoulders, and she wore a cream-colored sweater that looked like it belonged in a cozy bookshop. You must be Daniel, she said, smiling shyly. I'm Isabelle. Olivia's sister. I stood up too quickly, nearly knocking over my coffee. Oh, yeah. Hi. She didn't tell me you were coming. Isabelle laughed softly. She doesn't know. I just moved to the city for an internship and thought I'd surprise her. She's at a brunch thing. She'll be back later. Oh. Her face fell slightly. Then she brightened. That's okay. I'll just wait, if that's cool. Yeah, of course. She set her bag down and glanced at my laptop screen. Are you working? I don't want to interrupt. It's fine. I've been staring at this code for 3 days. I could use a break. She smiled. What are you building? No one ever asked me that. Olivia would nod and say asterisk, sounds good asterisk without looking. Investors didn't care about the technical side. But Isabelle asked like she actually wanted to know. So I told her. I explained the platform, the payment system, the architecture. She listened, leaning forward slightly, her eyes focused and curious. You're building all of this? She asked when I finished, her voice almost disbelieving. I shrugged. Olivia has the vision. I'm just making it real. She looked at me for a long moment, her expression unreadable. That's not asterisk, just asterisk anything, Daniel. Something about the way she said my name made my chest tighten. No one had said my name like that in months. Olivia came home 6 hours later, distracted and exhausted. She barely acknowledged Isabelle, just hugged her quickly and said she had calls to make. So Isabelle stayed with me. It became a pattern. She'd visit on weekends, always when Olivia was busy, which was always. And she'd sit with me while I worked. She'd bring coffee, ask questions, listen like what I was saying actually mattered. At first, it was just small talk. Then it became deeper. She told me about grad school, about studying psychology, about wanting to help people heal. I told her about my fear of disappearing, about feeling like I was fading into the background of my own life. You're not disappearing, she said one night, her voice serious. You're just letting someone else take credit for your light. I didn't know what to say to that. We started spending more time together. She'd sit on the couch with her books while I coded. We'd order Thai food at midnight and talk about philosophy, art, the universe. She had this way of seeing the world that made everything feel bigger and softer at the same time. One night, she brought me a sketchbook. "I thought you might like this," she said, handing it to me. "For when you need a break from screens." I opened it. The pages were blank, cream-colored, inviting. "I don't really draw," I said. "You don't have to. You can just think on paper. Sometimes it helps." I looked at her. Really looked at her. The way her eyes crinkled when she smiled. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. The way she saw me, really saw me, when no one else did. And I realized something that terrified me. I was falling for the wrong sister. She stayed late one night, longer than usual. Olivia had gone to bed hours ago, too exhausted to even say goodnight. Isabelle and I were on the couch, a documentary playing on mute, talking about nothing and everything. "Do you ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" I asked. She looked at me, surprised. "All the time." "Yeah? I'm always in Olivia's shadow," she said quietly. "The successful one. The golden child. I love her, but sometimes I wonder what it would be like to be seen." "I see you," I said. The words came out before I could stop them. She went still. Her eyes met mine. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she looked away, her cheeks flushed. "I should go," she whispered. I nodded. Didn't trust myself to speak. She gathered her things, and at the door, she turned back. "Daniel." "Yeah? You matter. I hope you know that." And then she was gone. I sat there in the dark, my heart pounding, knowing I'd crossed a line I couldn't uncross. Knowing I didn't want to. The betrayal happened at a tech conference in front of 3,000 people, under blinding stage lights that made everything feel both unreal and unbearably permanent. It was May. The platform had just hit 10 million users. The press was calling Olivia a visionary. Forbes had put her on their 30 under 30 list. Venture capitalists were throwing money at her. And I was proud. God, I was so proud. I sat in the front row of the conference hall, wearing the one suit I owned, my hands folded in my lap. The seat beside me was empty, reserved for a sponsor who hadn't shown. Around me, the audience buzzed with anticipation. Then the lights dimmed. Olivia walked onto the stage in a white blazer and black pants, her hair styled perfectly, her smile confident and bright. The crowd erupted in applause. I clapped until my hands hurt. She stood at the podium, letting the applause wash over her, and when she finally spoke, her voice was steady and strong. 3 years ago, she began, I had a vision. The screen behind her lit up with our logo. The platform I'd built from nothing. I saw a world where creatives weren't exploited. Where artists controlled their work. Where freedom wasn't a luxury, it was a right. The audience leaned in. "Building this wasn't easy," she continued. "There were nights I didn't sleep. Mornings I wanted to quit. Investors who told me it couldn't be done." She paused for effect. "But I didn't quit. I believed in this vision. And I built it." My chest tightened. She kept talking. About her journey. Her sleepless nights. Her sacrifice. Her resilience. She never said my name. Not once. I sat there, frozen, waiting for the moment she'd acknowledge me. Waiting for her to say, "I couldn't have done this alone." But it never came. The presentation went on for 25 minutes. She talked about user growth, investor confidence, future expansion. She showed screenshots of features I designed. Code architecture I'd built. Systems I'd created. And she claimed all of it. When the Q&A started, a woman in the third row raised her hand. "Did you build this platform alone?" she asked. Olivia smiled. Paused. Looked thoughtful. "I had a small team of contractors early on," she said. "But the vision, the strategy, the execution, that was all me." The word hit me like a punch to the chest. Contractors. I looked around. No one was looking at me. No one knew. 3 years of my life. 3 years of late nights, sacrificed dreams, endless work. Reduced to contractors. I felt my hands start to shake. The applause thundered. Olivia smiled, waved, and walked off the stage like she'd just won an award. And maybe she had. I found her backstage, surrounded by investors and journalists. She was laughing, shaking hands, glowing. I stood at the edge of the crowd, waiting. When she finally saw me, her smile faltered for just a second. Then she excused herself and walked over. Daniel, she said, her voice bright. What did you think? I stared at her. Contractors? I said quietly. Her expression tightened. Not here. You called me a contractor. Daniel. I'm your husband, Olivia. She grabbed my arm, pulled me into a side hallway away from the crowd. Her smile was gone now, replaced with irritation. What do you want me to say? She hissed. That I couldn't have done it without you? That you're the genius behind everything? I want you to tell the truth. She laughed bitterly. The truth? Daniel, you don't understand how this world works. Investors want a founder. A singular vision. Not a couple. Not a partnership. Me. So you just erase me? I'm not erasing you. I'm protecting the brand. This is optics. Strategy. This is my life. And it's my company, she shot back. You're brilliant at what you do. But I'm the face. I'm the one they believe in. That's just how it is. I felt something inside me break. Then what am I? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She looked at me. And for a moment, just a moment, I thought I saw guilt flicker in her eyes. But then it was gone. You're the support system, she said finally. And that's important too. She turned and walked back toward the crowd, leaving me standing alone in that hallway. And I knew it was over. I knew I'd given everything to someone who saw me as a tool. I knew I'd been disappearing for 3 years, and she'd let me. That silence told me everything. I asked for a divorce 2 weeks later on a Sunday morning while it rained. Olivia was at the dining table, scrolling through investor emails, a cup of black coffee steaming beside her laptop. She didn't look up when I walked in. I want a divorce, I said. She froze. Then slowly looked up at me, her expression somewhere between disbelief and annoyance. What? I want a divorce. She set her phone down. Daniel, if this is about the conference. It's about everything, I said. My voice was steady. I'd practiced this. It's about 3 years of being erased. Of being called a contractor. Of watching you take credit for my work and pretend I don't exist. That's not fair. Isn't it? She stood up, crossing her arms. I built this company. I took the risk. I got the investors. I made the decisions. And I built the product. Every single line of code. Every feature. Every system. Without me, your vision would still just be a PowerPoint presentation. Her jaw tightened. So what do you want? Recognition? Applause? A medal? I want a divorce. For a moment, she just stared at me. Then she laughed, sharp, bitter. You're really going to throw this away, she said. Everything we've built? You already did. Her face went cold. Fine. If that's what you want. It is. Then let's get this over with. The lawyers handled everything. It was quick. Clinical. Transactional. She kept the company. The apartment. The reputation. The future. I kept my dignity, barely, and a settlement that felt less like compensation and more like hush money. Enough to survive for a few months. Not enough to matter. I signed the papers in a conference room that smelled like leather and regret. Olivia sat across from me, her face unreadable. She signed without hesitation. We didn't say goodbye. I moved into a tiny studio apartment across town the following week. It was on the 4th floor of an old building with thin walls and a radiator that clanked at night. The windows overlooked a parking lot. There was no furniture. No photos. No warmth. Just me and my laptop and a mattress on the floor. I spent the first 3 nights staring at the ceiling, wondering how I'd gotten here. Wondering how 3 years of my life had evaporated into nothing. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I just felt hollow. Isabelle called me the day the divorce was finalized. I almost didn't answer. I was sitting on the floor of my empty apartment, eating cold pizza straight from the box, staring at nothing. But I picked up. Daniel. Her voice was soft. Sad. I heard. I'm so sorry. It's okay. It's not. I didn't say anything. She doesn't deserve you, Isabelle said quietly. I closed my eyes. I don't know what I deserve anymore. You deserve to be seen. Something in my chest cracked open. Thank you, I whispered. We stayed on the phone for an hour. She didn't ask about Olivia. She didn't pry. She just talked, about her day, about a book she was reading, about the weather. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. We started meeting for coffee after that. Once a week at first. Then twice. Then almost every day. We'd sit in corner booths at quiet cafes and talk about everything except Olivia. She told me about her work, her internship at a therapy clinic, her dreams of opening her own practice one day. I told her about learning to be alone again. She never pitied me. She just saw me. One evening, we went for a walk along the river. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Isabelle walked beside me, her hands tucked into her coat pockets, her breath visible in the cold air. "You seem lighter," she said. "I don't know if that's the right word. What would you call it?" I thought about it. "Less heavy, maybe." She smiled. "That's a start." We stopped at a bench overlooking the water. Sat down. Watched the city lights flicker on one by one. "Can I tell you something?" I asked. "Always. I feel like I'm finally waking up. Like I've been asleep for 3 years and I'm just now opening my eyes." She looked at me. "And what do you see?" I looked back at her. I wanted to say. I see you. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I just smiled. I'm still figuring that out. Isabelle was everything her sister wasn't: kind, present, real. She didn't need me to build her empire. She didn't see me as a tool. She saw me as me star. And slowly, carefully, I started to feel human again. I didn't plan to fall in love with her. But I did. I fell slowly, then all at once, like rain turning into a storm. And this time, it felt like coming home. It was raining the night Isabelle told me the truth. Not the soft, romantic kind of rain from movies, the kind that drowned out sound and blurred the world into watercolor smudges. The kind of rain that made everything feel distant and intimate at the same time. We were sitting in her car outside my apartment building. She'd offered to drive me home after dinner, and we'd ended up talking for over an hour, the windows fogging up, the engine off, the world outside reduced to streaks of water and dim streetlights. I don't remember what we were talking about. Something small. Meaningless. But then she went quiet. Her hands gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white. Her eyes stared straight ahead at the rain-blurred windshield. "I need to tell you something," she said. Her voice was different. Tight. Afraid. I turned to her. "What is it?" She took a breath. Let it out slowly. "I've liked you since the first time we met." My heart stopped. I tried to ignore it, she continued, her voice cracking. I tried to tell myself it was nothing. That it would go away. That I was just being stupid. She finally looked at me, and her eyes were shining with unshed tears. I tried to be happy for Olivia. I tried to be a good sister. But watching her treat you like you didn't matter, like you were invisible, it broke my heart. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. "I know it's wrong," she whispered. "She's my sister. And you were her husband. And I should have kept my mouth shut. But I can't anymore. I can't keep pretending I don't feel this." The rain drummed against the roof, a steady, relentless rhythm. My heartbeat was louder. "Isabelle." I started, but I didn't know how to finish. "You don't have to say anything," she said quickly, shaking her head. I needed you to know. I couldn't keep lying. Not to you." She looked away, her hands trembling on the steering wheel. And in that moment, I realized something. I'd been lying too. To myself. To her. Pretending what I felt was just gratitude. Just friendship. But it wasn't. It was more. It had been more for a long time. I reached over and gently took her hand. She went still, her breath catching. "Isabelle," I said softly. "Look at me." She turned, her eyes wide and afraid and hopeful. "I feel it too." Her face crumpled. A sob escaped her, quiet and broken. "I've been trying not to," I continued. "I told myself it was wrong. That it was too soon. That I was just confused. But I'm not confused." I squeezed her hand. "You see me. You've always seen me. And my voice broke. I don't want to pretend anymore either." She exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for years. The rain poured down around us. Inside the car, it felt like the only safe place in the world. We didn't kiss that night. We didn't need to. We just sat there, hands intertwined, foreheads almost touching, breathing the same air. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was disappearing. I felt seen. When I finally went inside, I stood in my empty apartment, my hand still tingling where she'd held it. I looked around at the bare walls, the mattress on the floor, the loneliness I'd been living in. And I realized something. I wasn't empty anymore. I was filling up with something new. Something real. Something that felt like light. The invitation arrived on a Tuesday morning, crisp and elegant and devastating. I found it in my mailbox, sandwiched between a credit card offer and a utility bill. Cream-colored cardstock. Embossed gold lettering. The kind of invitation that cost more than my monthly groceries. I opened it standing in the lobby of my building, rain dripping off my jacket onto the tile floor. Olivia Hartwell and Carson Gray *. Request the honor of your presence *. At their wedding celebration *. The words blurred. I read it again. Then again. She was getting married. 6 months. 6 months after our divorce, and she was marrying him. Carson Gray. The venture capitalist with the perfect smile and the trust fund and the kind of effortless confidence that came from never having to prove yourself. The man who'd funded her platform. The man who'd probably been in her life long before I signed the divorce papers. Maybe even before. I stood there, staring at that invitation, feeling something cold settle in my chest. I should have thrown it away. Should have torn it into pieces and dropped it in the trash and never thought about it again. But I didn't. I took it upstairs. Set it on my kitchen counter. Stared at it for an hour. Isabelle called me that night. I knew something was wrong the second I heard her voice, tight, strained, like she was holding back tears. Did you get it? She asked. Yeah. A pause. A shaky breath. She wants me to be her maid of honor. I closed my eyes. She doesn't know, Isabelle continued quietly. About us. I haven't told her. What do you want to do? I don't know. Her voice cracked. I want to tell her the truth. I want to stand up to her for once in my life. But I'm scared, Daniel. She's my sister. And she's Olivia star. I understood. Olivia had always been the sun in their family sky. The brilliant one. The successful one. The one everyone orbited around. And Isabelle had always been the shadow. I feel like I'm betraying her, Isabelle whispered. But I also feel like she betrayed you. And I don't know how to reconcile that. I sat down on the edge of my mattress, the invitation still in my hand. We'll figure it out, I said. But even as I said it, something was forming in my mind. Dangerous. Reckless. Perfect. What if we went to the wedding? I said slowly. Silence. What? What if we went together? What if we told everyone the truth? Not in anger. Not for revenge. Just the truth. Daniel. She erased me, I said. She rewrote history. She made me invisible. And she's about to do it again in front of everyone who matters. So what are you saying? I took a breath. I'm saying let's make sure they remember my name. Another long silence. Then Isabelle spoke, her voice quiet but steady. She introduced you as her assistant once. At a family dinner last year. I was sitting right there. You smiled and went along with it, and I wanted to scream. I remember. I'm tired of watching her erase people, Isabelle said. I'm tired of being invisible too. Then let's stop being invisible. I could hear her breathing on the other end of the line. This is crazy, she finally said. I know. It could blow up everything. I know. Another pause. Then, softly, okay. Okay? Let's do it. My heart pounded. Are you sure? No, she said, and I could hear the smile in her voice. But I'm doing it anyway. We spent the next 2 weeks planning. Not revenge. Not some dramatic public takedown. Just truth. I would go to the wedding. I would speak. I would tell the story Olivia had tried to erase. And then, in front of everyone, I would ask Isabelle to marry me. Not to hurt Olivia. Not for attention. But because Isabelle was the one who saw me. Who loved me. Who deserved to be chosen first for once in her life. Because I loved her. And because some truths need to be spoken out loud, in front of witnesses, so they can't be rewritten. I bought a ring with the last of my settlement money. Simple. Elegant. Real. And I practiced what I would say. Over and over. Until my voice stopped shaking. Until I believed it. The night before the wedding, Isabelle came over. We sat on the floor of my apartment, eating takeout, not talking about tomorrow. Are you scared? She asked. Terrified. Me too. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Whatever happens tomorrow, she said quietly, I'm glad I met you. I kissed the top of her head. Me too. And in that moment, I knew. No matter what happened at that wedding, I'd already won. Because I'd found someone who saw me. And I was never going to be invisible again. The wedding was everything Olivia ever wanted, grand, flawless, and obscenely expensive. It was held at a historic estate an hour outside the city, the kind of place that required a valet, a dress code, and an RSVP months in advance. The gardens were immaculate, the architecture was old money elegant, and the guest list read like a Forbes 30 under 30 reunion. I arrived alone, dressed in a tailored navy suit I couldn't afford, the ring box a small, dangerous weight in my pocket. The valet took my keys. I walked through towering iron gates, past fountains and rose gardens, toward the sound of string music and champagne laughter. I didn't belong here. But I wasn't leaving. The ceremony was held outdoors under a canopy of white flowers and golden light. 200 guests sat in neat rows on white chairs, fanning themselves in the late afternoon heat. I found a seat in the back. Anonymous. Invisible. For now. The music swelled. Everyone stood. And there she was. Olivia. Walking down the aisle in a dress that probably cost more than a car, her arm linked with her father's, her smile radiant and perfect. She looked happy. She looked untouchable. Carson stood at the altar in a tailored tuxedo, his expression soft with adoration. The officiant spoke. They exchanged vows. Promises of forever, of partnership, of love. I watched it all from the back row, my jaw tight, my hands clenched in my lap. When they kissed, the crowd erupted in applause. I didn't clap. The reception was inside, a grand ballroom with crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and tables draped in silk. A live band played jazz standards. Waiters circulated with champagne and hors d'oeuvres that looked like tiny works of art. I moved through the crowd like a ghost. No one recognized me. No one knew who I was. Just another face in a suit. Then I saw her. Olivia stood near the head table, surrounded by investors and old college friends, laughing at something someone said. She glowed. She always glowed. And then she saw me. Her smile faltered. Just for a second. She excused herself, walked over, her expression carefully neutral. "Daniel," she said, her voice sweet and tight. "I didn't think you'd come. Wouldn't miss it." Her eyes flickered to the guests around us, then back to me. She leaned in, her voice dropping. "Behave yourself." I smiled. "Always." She searched my face, looking for something, anger, bitterness, weakness. But I kept my expression smooth. Finally, she stepped back, smoothing her dress. "Enjoy the evening," she said, and walked away. For the next hour, I circulated. Listened. Watched. Olivia introduced me to her new in-laws, her investors, her colleagues. "This is Daniel," she said brightly. "He used to help out with some of the early technical work. He was a great assistant." Assistant. Again. The word landed like a slap. But I smiled. Nodded. Played along. Around me, people smiled back, unaware. Uninterested. I was nobody. Just the help. Then I saw Isabelle. She stood near the edge of the ballroom in a soft lavender dress, her hair swept up, her face tight with barely contained emotion. Our eyes met. She gave me the smallest nod. "It's time." My heart pounded. I walked to the DJ booth, where a young guy in a bow tie was queuing up the next song. "Hey," I said. "Can I borrow that for a second?" I pointed to the microphone. He frowned. I don't think." I slipped him a 20. "Just 1 minute." He hesitated. Then handed it over. I walked to the center of the ballroom, my hands steady, my breath even. I tapped the microphone. The feedback cut through the music, and the room went quiet. 200 faces turned toward me. Olivia froze, her champagne glass halfway to her lips. Carson looked confused. Isabelle stood still, her eyes wide. "Sorry to interrupt," I said, my voice steady. "I just wanted to say a few words." Olivia's face went pale. "My name is Daniel Cross," I said. "And I'm not Olivia's assistant." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I kept going. "I'm her ex-husband." The murmurs turned to gasps. Olivia stepped forward, her voice sharp. "Daniel." But I didn't stop. I spent 3 years building the platform that made Olivia a millionaire. I wrote every line of code. I designed every feature. I sacrificed everything. My voice didn't waver. And she erased me. The room was silent now. Every eye on me. I'm not here for revenge, I said. I'm not here to ruin anything. I'm here because I found something real. Something I should have had all along. I turned, looked at Isabelle, and walked toward her. I walked across the ballroom floor slowly, deliberately, while 200 people watched in stunned silence. Olivia's voice cut through the quiet, sharp, and desperate. Daniel, stop. I didn't stop. I reached Isabelle. She stood frozen, tears streaming down her face, her hands covering her mouth. I pulled the ring box from my pocket. The room exploded in whispers. I got down on one knee. I spent 3 years with someone who made me invisible, I said, my voice steady, my eyes locked on Isabelle's. Someone who took everything I gave and pretended I didn't exist. My throat tightened, but I kept going. And then I met you. Isabelle's breath hitched. You saw me when no one else did. You listened when I talked. You cared when I hurt. You made me feel like I mattered. I opened the ring box. The diamond caught the chandelier light, simple and real. You're everything I thought I wanted in her, but true. Kind. Brave. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Isabelle, I said, my voice breaking just slightly, will you marry me? The room held its breath. Olivia stood 20 feet away, her face a mask of horror and fury. Carson had a hand on her shoulder, whispering something, but she wasn't listening. Isabelle looked down at me, her eyes wide and shining. For a moment, I thought she might say no. Might run. Might choose her sister over me. But then she nodded. Yes. The word came out as a whisper. Yes, she said again, louder this time, her voice cracking with emotion. Yes, I'll marry you. I stood, slipping the ring onto her finger, and pulled her into my arms. She buried her face in my chest, sobbing, and I held her like I'd never let go. The room erupted. Some people clapped, awkwardly, uncertainly. Some gasped. Some stood frozen, unsure whether to be scandalized or moved. Olivia's voice rang out, shrill and furious. Are you kidding me? This is my wedding. But no one was looking at her anymore. They were looking at us. Carson was pulling her back, murmuring urgently, trying to salvage the moment. But it was too late. The perfect wedding was shattered. And I didn't care. Isabelle pulled back, looking up at me, her mascara running, her smile trembling but real. We should go, she whispered. I nodded. Hand in hand, we walked toward the exit. The crowd parted. Some people whispered. Some stared. A few smiled. Behind us, I could hear Olivia's voice, sharp and frantic, trying to regain control, trying to redirect attention. But we didn't look back. We stepped out into the cool evening air, the sound of the ballroom fading behind us. The valet brought my car. I opened the door for Isabelle, and she slid in, still crying, still smiling. I got in beside her. For a moment, we just sat there, the weight of what we'd just done settling over us. Then she laughed, soft, disbelieving, free. We really just did that. I laughed too. Yeah, we did. She looked down at the ring on her finger, then back at me. I love you, she said. It was the first time either of us had said it out loud. I love you too. I started the car, and we drove away from that estate, from that wedding, from Olivia's perfect life. And as the lights faded behind us, I realized something. For the first time in 3 years, I wasn't invisible. I was free. I was *scene star. And I was exactly where I was supposed to be.